Hi friends, it's Deanna Willison with Our Blooming Catholic Life. Here's another great book I picked up at Wonder Books. Wonder Books is a used bookstore extraordinaire. It has 3 locations in Maryland. This book did cost me $10. It is quite a hefty thing. The Fireside book of folk songs. Please don't buy all the copies before... never mind. I've been going there. There does seem to be a folk music collection there that I'm trying to slowly gather them up. This one you can see has kind of a 1960s feel, right? Let's jump inside and see what it is. Fireside Book of Songs, selected and edited by Margaret, Bradford, Boni, arranged for piano by Norman Lloyd, illustrated by Alice and Martin Probinson, and it was printed by Simon & Schuster. It is dedicated to my sister, Ida Van Doren. Well, which of the people did that? None of these people have that name. I don't know who's dedicating it to her, but whoever sister you are, may God bless you. It says, designed and produced by the Sandpiper Press and Artists and Writers Guild, Inc., published by Simon & Schuster, Inc., Rockefeller Center in New York. The copyright was originally 1947. I wasn't terribly off then, 1947. There's a fairly large general acknowledgments, because there's a lot. Folk music has a lot of history and stuff, and we'll let you read all that. The preface says, starting here, see, they're trying to be super fancy. There is something about the haunting melodies and simple but inimitable verses of peasants and spinners, of fishermen and sailors, and the rude soldiery, which has perennial appeal to their descendants and those who have come to share their inheritance. Whether it be Eileen Aroon, Shenandoah, Apres de Ma Blonde, sorry pronunciation, Santa Lucia, or any of 1,000 others, each generation that hears them for the first time is stirred again, and those who have retired to the chimney corner are moved by poignant memories. That's why Fireside, the older generation, goes to sit where it's warm by the fire. The Fireside Book of Folk Songs may stimulate interest in our cultural history, and in doing so, it will do well, but its primary purpose, as the title implies, is to encourage the domestic performance of the songs of long ago that are still the songs of today. It is characteristic of the songs of the people that they call for group performances. Many of them, work songs, dance songs, nursery rhymes, songs of the festival, were so rendered from their inception. But even those conceived as solos have, by their familiarity, invited companionable unison wherever 2 or 3 or more people are gathered. The custom is as old as the hills and indestructible. Our familiar word vaudeville comes from the genial practice of groups of musical versifiers who gathered together for singing and drinking, purposes in the French vaudeville in the early 14th century. In the secular circles, the custom was hoary then, Hoary, I don't know, as was congregational singing in the churches. It is with a view to this pleasant custom that the arrangement of the tunes have been made. To avoid the monotony and vulgarity, no attempt has been made to persuade one style of accompaniment to suit the varying styles of the melody. And the square-toed oompa bass has been studiously avoided. I have no idea what that means. A straight 4-part harmonization has been used for songs likely to be sung in this way, and where the songs seem to offer a great deal of freedom in interpretation, the inherent possibilities of the tune have been exploited in the accompaniment. Phrasing, dynamic marks, pedaling, and even the fingering have been indicated where they appeared necessary to the full realization of the musical setting. I wish to acknowledge my indebtedness to Anne Brooks for the writing introductions to the 5 sections, and so successfully revealing the basic feelings which guided my choice of songs. Here, then, is the collection of some of the best-loved songs in the world as they have made their appearance on the American scene or become, for the most part, duly naturalized. They are filled with pathos, humor, struggle, whimsicality, tragedy, and boisterous comedy, which are the ingredients of our common lot. They are good to sing, better if sung with others, and best of all, if sung again, Margaret, Bradford, Boni. So it must be her sister. How is this set up? It's not super clear, but so we have a preface, and then there's a section called Ballads and Old Favorites, and then there's a number of songs underneath them. Has the ... taking us to the page number. What are the other sections? There are work songs, both English and American, marching songs, and songs of valor. And in these first 3 sections, they have either, like the country of origin, saying Scottish, Irish, American, English, Italian, Canadian, Uruguayan. Well, there you go. German, South American, Canadian, French, right? On work songs, it has what type of song they are. Sea shanty, railroad song, cowboy song. Let's see if there's any others. No, marching songs and songs of valor go back to the country names. American, sort of American, French, American, Hebrew, American, English, Russian, German, Chinese, Russian, English. There's an Australian, French, Irish. Christmas carols, French, American, English, German, French, Portuguese, English, 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 Sicilian, Welsh, English, 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 American, German, English. Now, an example of what they were saying, many of these songs having been naturalized, I'll try and tell you what the name of the Christmas carol is in the country of origin. That didn't work, did it? And you may be surprised. So, Angels We Have Heard on High is French. O Little Town of Bethlehem is American. What Child Is This is English. Good Christian Men Rejoice, German. Jeanette Isabella, okay, bring a torch. Jeanette Isabella, you can hear it in the names. That one's French. Adeste Fidelis, O Come All Ye Faithful, is Portuguese. Good King Wenceslas, English. 12 Days of Christmas, English. Coventry Carol, English. O Sanctissima is Sicilian. Deck the Halls was the Welsh. The First Noel, it says is English. I really thought that was French. Joy to the World, English. God Rest You Merry Gentlemen, English. Seven Joys of Mary. I don't know that one. English. Hark the Herald Angels Sing, English. Rise Up, Shepherd and Faller, American. Silent Night, German. Yes. Masters in This Hall, English. Wassail Song, English. We then have old hymns and spirituals, and they're divided up into a subheading called Old Hymns. So the others didn't have subheadings, so let me show you the subheading. They also had a picture of a church here, but then it says Old Hymns, so that's where we start. Old Hymns. A mighty fortress is our God. Who can retell? For some reason, these do not have country of origin, or whether they're Protestant or Catholic or any other kind of mark. The only marking is Ferris Lord Jesus says, in parentheses, Crusaders hymn. Spirituals are the same. There's no more designation. That's steal away, let me fly. Nobody knows the trouble I see. Then there's an index of titles, an index of first lines, and notes on the contributors. Those are all pretty standard for any kind of songbook, right? The index of titles and index of first lines, especially in folk music, because sometimes they can have so many variations. Now, when we get to the very first section, it's easy to see that a new section is starting, right? Super easy. Ballads and old favorites. The ballad or folk song, so they're using these words together, ballad and folk song, is the world's first newspaper and informal history book. It came into being as a sort of tabloid record of battles, adventures, and scandals in the days when an illiterate community depended for its news on the minstrels who roamed the countryside. In the form of the folk song served a practical purpose. The minstrel, having much news to report, could not rely entirely on his memory. A ballad stanza, by its rhyme scheme and general circumscribed framework, helped him to supply details which might otherwise be forgotten, to give accurate versions of names and times and places, and to recall the sequences of an event as it really happened. After its first performance, the ballad grew by itself, taking on the character of its own. A song which caught a community's fancy was repeated, and since it was usually learned orally, it was generally repeated inaccurately. The local songsters added improvements, tricks of phrasing that were not in the original, additions of verses as events took place, or some were forgotten. The rhythmical changes would add new wordings, demanded new accent stresses. Only the best elements in the songs continued. Only the best of ornamentations or changes were popular, and through centuries of weeding out, many of the ballads have come to be extremely subtle and delicate works, probably bearing little resemblance to their first crude versions. In fact, the taste and sensitive craftsmanship of some of the earlier folk songs is so highly regarded by professional musicians that many of the greatest and most elaborate orchestral and operatic works contain as their theme the simple, lovely threads of a national ballad. It's so beautiful. It talks about the art of ballad singing. One of the great things is large community events. It might be sung like a dance or a song. Ballad and ballet are indistinguishable, and the minstrel or leader would sing the verse, and the community would sing the chorus. The chorus. It's like in choir, when the monks would sing, one would sing one line of a psalm and then the other side would answer with the other. You would practice listening and speaking. And the ballad or folk song has that attribute as well. Or you could say in a lot of churches today we have something we call the responsorial psalm. The main theme is repeated by the congregation. The cantor will continue singing the psalm, and in between the stanzas, the chorus or the choir sings the responsorial psalm. So, the little phrase. And so that was popular even then. That allowed the leader to continually update the news, but the community was still participating. They would come in and sing, again, that most important part of the news. So if it was about a young prince being born, they may just sing like "A new prince is born to us, long live the king." That is the most important part for them to remember, and perhaps he's doing a whole line singing of the young lad's entire lineage or some great feats that they expect him to do, or all of his titles, but they would be singing back the most important part. And it's very interesting because sometimes that's more what survived is the chorus, and the verses have changed over time, but the choruses have stayed pretty solid. There's some funny songs that when you read like 3 and 4 versions, you're like, oh, they have nothing in common perhaps but the chorus. So it does tell you about it. Let me show you. This book was obviously written in by a previous owner. So it's done very well, right? The melody line is here. That's why I grabbed it. I'm not a great singer, but I do like to play on my dulcimer, and so I'll be able to play all of these. Does it tell you what key or anything it's in right away? No, so I'd have to sit and figure that out. Again, it does have, can you see it does actually have the pedaling if you're playing on piano. I think this person wrote chords in, is my guess. It's a couple places in the books. I'm guessing they wrote in chords, and they color-coded them. So all of the G chords are blue, all of the E minor chords are yellow, A's, minuses are pink. So they color-coded as well. They do have it ending on a D7 chord. And so I'll have to look and see if that isn't the key that it was originally in. Now this does just give you, even when it gives you multiple verses, they seem to be in the text with the music. Not every book is like that. Often they give you just once with it, and then all the other verses are later. You can see that they eat. Oh, no, you can't. Not all of them. So the Cockles and Mussels did not have a story with it. Neither did Bendemeer's Stream. Skyboat Song had. So let's go back and look. This did actually give us a tiny little history for the folk song. So some have it, some don't. On the Skyboat Song, Charles Edward Stuart, the young pretender, was routed by the Duke of Cumberland on Culloden Moor. Was routed. So, a battle. By the Duke of Cumberland on Culloden Moor in 1745. Aided by Jacobite heroine Flora MacDonald, Bonnie Prince Charlie escaped to the island of Skye in the Inner Hebrides. He was finally taken by a French vessel to Morleau on the coast of Bretagne. The first half of the tune is said to be an old sea shanty. The other half is traditionally a tribute to Miss McLeod. That's so fun. So you can see here most of it is in with the music, but it got to be a little too cumbersome. So they have the last 2 verses here, and the chorus is down here. Does that chorus give in any music? Where the sailors cry. Oh, wow, now I have to go back. This one, okay, so this one's a little different. This one gives you the chorus first, and then the verses come in. So can you see that here? The chorus is here and here, then you come up here, and this is verse 1 and 2, verses 3 and 4 are here. So it's done a little bit differently, I guess, for every song. Yes, this one has the next one. It has numbered like there's 1, but I don't see 2. Where's that at? I don't know. See? there's a verse 1, but not a verse 2. This one over here has verses 1, 2, and 3 in the original music, and then the chorus is at the end. So they are set up different. You're going to want to stop and look at. Let's look at some of the other sections. Here's a fun one. On top of Old Smoky, the actual words, which has nothing to do with the meatball all covered in cheese, which is how it came down to me. It tells you it's an old Kentucky mountain song with a ballad called The Little Mohi, sung to the same tune. Jump towards the back. Every Night When the Sun Goes In is an old song from the southern Appalachian Mountains. Its mood and sentiment, it is closely related to the later song style known as the blues. And it even tells you a blues tempo. And you can see it gives you the verse 2, 3, 4, 5, and the chorus are listed over here. Not how I would set it up. And apparently our friend who's writing the chords has abandoned their color coding system there. And this is a folk song found in Chile, Bolivia, and western Argentina. It opens with the formal rhythm of a minuet, but changes to a quick heel-tapping dance, which culminates in a formal, slow bow. This form is common in the music of these countries. El cuando, the when. Oh my. The book had, hey, there's something extra here. There are Christmas carols stuck in the middle here. I had not noticed this. Carols of Christmas. Well, somebody has tucked this in and used it as a bookmark, and now it's mine. Oh, it was originally cost 10 cents. And I have 40 Christmas carols on this little sheet. What fun! You never know what you're going to find. I don't even know all these. I am so glad each Christmas Eve, the night of Jesus' birth, then like the sun, the stars shone forth, and angels sang on earth. I can hear the rhythm, but I don't know the tune to all these. What fun! Have to look at that later. That was in the British Grenadiers. That's very odd. It says it goes back at least to the 16th century. I'm going to tuck this in for now with old hymns and spirituals. Wasn't there one? Oh, yeah, just before that is the Christmas carols. So let me put it in with Christmas carols. How funny. Let's go back. I'm going to tuck it in here with Christmas carols. The end of the section heading. Okay. The page numbers are oddly in the bottom center. That makes it super awkward because it gave us the page numbers to go find the songs earlier and then to find out that the page numbers are in the center bottom. And you can see there's no song number in the corner, and the names are done in a fancy print. So it's a little bit harder to find. You're probably going to want to get some, not super strong, but some kind of a sticky note tab to mark what songs that you're looking at, so that you can get that out. Let's see if we can look at these. Come to the back. Here is the index of first lines. Starts on page 317. And set up pretty easy. Several pages of that, right? And then index of titles. And if it had a foreign name, oftentimes it is given the name in the original language, and that might have a translation in parentheses. It may not. Some do, like I say, some do, some don't. When it's the index of titles, it's 1, 2, 3 sides of pages. About the contributors, that's just a very small section in the back. So if you've been studying any kind of ballads, folk tunes, hymns, the Fireside book, I found them to be a whole collection. Those are what's in the book of folk songs. So you might not have thought a Christmas song was going to be in here, or a military battle type song would be in here, but it is considered a folk song. And there's some minor histories here, but a lot of times people, so remember, ballads and old favorites, work songs, marching songs and songs of valor, old hymns and spirituals, including your Christmas carols. I wouldn't have expected to find all that in a folk song book. Again, it includes the accompaniment in piano with all of the modern notation for music. A lot of people would be looking for that. So you may want to look in your used bookstore or website and see if you can find some Fireside books. I do have at least one more in that series to review on another day. So keep an eye out for that one as well. I hope you enjoyed that. If you like our little look at music, because you can use that book so many different applications and instruments, I think that's going to be just a fabulous resource for a lot of people. And perhaps if enough of us call for the reprints of those, perhaps they will. It's not as exciting as the books by our friend Wayne. What is his name? Let me hold on. I'll look it up. I'm fairly sure it's Wayne. Now I'm doubting myself. Let's see here. I'll look this up. See if it comes up. Yes. Well, hold on. Wayne Erbsen. Wayne Erbsen. It's not funny. It's very short, but it does give you a little bit of the history of the genre, and then often there's a paragraph to go with the song, but not always. Not the kind of rollicking good time we expect from Wayne Erbsen. Maybe he will endeavor to put out some new books for us. I hope this book blessed you, friends. If it did, give it a like, a share, a subscribe, and try and get a membership to this channel to support me buying all these great books and making you aware of these great resources that are already out there. God bless, friends. Bye.